So we have these groups, these 12 notes, and I just said a moment ago that if you use all 12 of them at random, it's gross sounding, but if you use certain subsets, and in this case I'm using a particular subset of these 12 notes, composed of 7 of the notes, well, all of a sudden starts to sound musical. So now we know about our notes. We know about the principle of atonality versus tonality. Well, where do we get these subsets? Well, this is in music. We often hear about people practicing their scales, and there's all sorts of different scales. We have major scales. We have minor scales of various stripes, harmonic minor, our Dorian scale, our blues scale, so on and so forth. Just all sorts of these different scales that all kind of sound a little bit different. Well, that's where these subsets are coming from. And you can hear, right, when you play the scale, a little bit of the flavor or mood that that collection of notes evokes. It's sort of like a little demo of what playing with that collection of notes is going to sound like. For example, and this, of course, these scales are very modern compared to ancient human times, but the principles remain the same. So we'll use our imagination here a little bit. Imagine we're in an ancient village in Greece or Rome or anywhere around the world, really, and someone asks us to write a new song for a party that's happening tonight. Well, let's maybe go to a very upbeat, a happy scale. This is a scale known as the A pentatonic scale, but not to worry about. That's nothing to worry about in terms of which scale it is. Point is, it's a scale that sounds pretty upbeat and happy. Now, if I take those notes, and I can play them all over the piano, it doesn't have to be contained to a single octave. As long as I play just those particular notes, which in this case is A, B, C sharp, E, and F sharp, well, even at random, and it might not be the best song in the world, but even at random, it's going to sound musical. The notes are going to work together, and it's going to evoke and capture that mood of the scale, which happens to be kind of upbeat and peppy. Let me get something that sounds kind of upbeat and peppy. Again, we'd have to maybe spend a little bit more time on it as a composer if we're being asked to write a song, but really it takes a lot of the guesswork out of it. On the other hand, maybe there's someone who's having a really bad day and they want to listen to a sad song and they ask us to compose a new one. Well, maybe we'll go to one of our minor scales, one of our dark sounding scales. And if I work with those notes, and these are the notes G, A, B flat, C, D, E flat, and F sharp, well, as long as I'm working just with those notes at random, we end up with something that sounds really dark, kind of spooky, and maybe a little bit sad. Again, this is at random, just kind of throwing some notes down, but at least we've taken the guesswork out. We know how to access a certain mood. This is why musicians spend so much time and there's so much emphasis on practicing our scales, because we're essentially teaching our hands how to navigate a particular set of notes so that we don't even really have to think about it. They just happen. So if you're in classes and your instructor has told you to practice your scales and you're kind of feeling bummed about that and you don't want to practice them, keep in mind that's the goal. It's to teach your hands the layout. And on this particular instrument, it's really nice because of this unequal pattern of white and black keys. Well, every scale ends up being this kind of unique shape kinesthetically for the hand to navigate. So each one's a little bit different and we want to get comfortable with each one of them.